My audio for him?
Yeah, yeah. And also that you don't get blasted.
Hey, Andrew, can you hear me all right?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Oh yeah, I can hear you guys.
It's just prepping its engine. Prepping
I don't
its
think my
vessel.
audio is working properly.
No.
Well, I'm glad that we did a test.
Maybe
You
not.
know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm looking at a bunch
See
of
what's going
coping
wrong.
videos on YouTube. There he is.
Oh yeah, that's why.
What did you think about last time?
Real talk?
School list?
Yep.
I loved it. I loved it. Did you LS the list? Or did you cat the list?
I literally like had a little system. I didn't do like all the basics.
Wait, is Real Tech for his classroom?
I don't know. Hang on,
But I didn't go
Jake
into
and
it
Andrew, we're just
because,
having some
like,
audio issues.
I'm muted.
Oh, yeah, that'll do
My
it.
audio is muted.
Okay, how about now?
There we go. Oh,
Nope.
nope. Wait, I don't. Wait, okay. Let me put this back to Creston. I'm pretty sure it's Creston.
Yep. You're muted again.
Hello?
Okay,
Yes,
there we go. All right. We have people inside BB121 right now, so that's why no one else is here except you guys. So. All right, awesome. So you guys are good to go whenever you guys want to start. So.
Hey, thanks. Let us know who we're speaking to. How many students are in the room?
So we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got about 10 students in here. We would connect the camera to the thing, but there's no camera in this classroom because it's a DMZ classroom. So apologies for that.
No problem. I guess I'll kick it off. I'm Jake McGee, I'm the Dean of STEM at MVCC. I'm one of the co-founders of the CNY Hackathon. We started this thing 10 years ago, back in 2013. And my wingman for tonight, Andrew, roped you Albany into the CNY Hackathon 5 or 6 years ago, I would guess.
Would have been 2018.
Yeah. So, and UAlbany has been hooked ever since, and we've been really happy to have you. Help me out. Of the 10 people in the room, how many have done CNY before?
I think we're looking at just 2 people. 2 or 3? 3.
Great. Okay. Well, we are kind of designed for people that are relatively new to competition. And so welcome. The more the merrier. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel like the competition is not for you. There's tons of things to do in our competition. And we make it as welcoming as we can for people of all skill levels. We are ready for those of you that are more skilled. Speak for Andrew.
Absolutely.
But we're also really, welcoming for new students. So we've been doing this for 10 years. The success of the CNY Hackathon has led to a $1 million a year grant to run the CNY Hackathon across the country as the NCAE Cyber Games. So we just finished our 2nd season of the NCAE Cyber Games, and about 80 colleges and 700 students participated last year. So something that we built locally together has been a model for how to do competition nationwide. One thing we do at CNY that we don't do in the national competition is we mix up the students. And that's a really cool dynamic that I think you're going to really appreciate. What we like about it is everybody learns cyber differently, and every cyber program is different. So when you mix up students and you have students on a team that are from Syracuse, MVCC, Albany, SUNY Poly, Utica, you're really well positioned to help each other and help each other learn. And we've seen lots of really awesome interactions where students left after one day with just the big picture, just understanding how things work and why, a lot more than they did before they came to the event. So I hope you appreciate that aspect as much as we do. Registration starts this Friday, and I'd recommend that you get everybody in on Friday if you can. We don't always sell out right away, but we do usually sell out. We take about 100 students. By the time game day comes around, that's usually about 70 as people have things happen, and between registration and game day. we always have between 70 and 100 students attend. The event's at MVCC in Utica. We are doing a kickoff on Friday, and for those of you, yourself in Syracuse, that are remote, that we'll do that online. We'll start at 4. We've got a panel of former students, including Andrew, and participants to talk about how they transitioned from the CNY hackathon to the workforce. We have probably one more guest speaker, and then mostly the rest of Friday night is just working with your teams in Discord, chatting, working on the router. You'll be on your team about a week before the event, and we'll give you a practice router to work on getting online and do that a few times so that Saturday morning it's kind of muscle memory and you can get the router online right away. And then Friday night is kind of your last time to work with the team, make some strategic decisions and make some plans. And then Saturday all day is the event. If you can plan on being here at MVCC at 8 and ready to go by 8:30, that would be good. We usually start scoring at 9. The morning can sometimes be a little slow in that everybody's learning each other and learning how to work our platform and the tech and the scoreboard and deciding who's going to do what. And then we have a mandatory lunch break that we've put in place for your own safety. We have found that when people stay up all night preparing for the event and then skip lunch, they aren't always the best versions of themselves that afternoon. So we have a mandatory lunch break where everybody leaves the labs and we eat some lunch and we chill out a little bit. And then the afternoon's where it gets really fun. We really have everybody, almost every team starts firing. Everybody knows how they contribute. You start hearing some cheers out of the rooms as you start getting your little victories. And often there's a race to the finish. There's right between 3 and 4 o'clock. Some teams are really close and they are really push hard to do the best finish that they can. After we close down the competition at 4, everybody gets together in a large room at MVCC and we do a wrap-up ceremony where every team talks just a little bit about what went well, what might not have gone so well, and we do an award ceremony. And our event is unique in that respect as well. It is a big deal to win, and we celebrate the winners of our event. But we know that more important than winning is, are you a great teammate, and were you able to improve at our event? So during the event, you will each have a poll. Every team will have a poll where you get to vote for who on your team, the team that your mixed team, was the most valuable teammate and who did the best, who improved. And we always say that most improved is the most prestigious award in our event. Our whole team just loves the students that show up ready to learn, soak up knowledge from everybody around them, and leaves at the end of the day just in a much better position as far as understanding how actual hacking and defending of computers happens. So that is the quick overview of what you can expect at the CNY Hackathon. It's good that you've got a few veterans there to kind of help everybody just think things through and make a plan. But Andrew in particular, Andrew was a student at this event, as he said, back in 2018, and is now in the workforce. So I invited Andrew, and he made some time today to kind of chat with you about what you should be thinking as you get ready for the event.
Absolutely. So actually, Jake, I started in 2016 at MVCC. I brought the competition to Albany in 2018 when I graduated MVCC.
Okay.
Yeah, so been a part of this competition for many years. The biggest comparison I can give to it is because I'm sure you guys know there is an actual CCBC team that Albany has. So your CCBC team is built up of the best group, if you would, right? Like you want to send your best team to see if you can truly win in the nationals. My comparison between that and CNY is where you genuinely can have the most amount of fun during the competition, right? Like it's really not a competition. It's more how much can I learn in a span of an entire day, right? Like the stuff that you're doing in your classes, right, throughout an entire year, you're going to learn even more than that in just a single day's time, just going up against the red team, right? Also on that same note, talking about the red team, which I'm now on, right? Yes, we are there to break stuff, but ultimately we're really not. So we're there to tweak in minor ways to see, can you find out how we got in, right? A little bit of incident response. Can you resolve the issue and then possibly report back to the red team, hey, we found you got in with X, Y, and Z, and this is how we're going to stop you from doing it in the past, right? The back and forth between the red and blue is what truly makes this competition, I would say. Um, Another big part, and come Saturday. So some red team members, including myself, I think a couple will every now and again, but you actually see me come around to your team rooms. I'm actually there to help. I'll be honest. Now sometimes the team will kick me out, and that's fair. I totally get it. But if I break a service across the entire board and every team, I will make my way around after a little while to see, hey, what are you thinking about? What steps have you gotten to? What steps are you thinking you need to get to? And I'll walk you through it. This entire competition is truly just for you guys to learn. Absolutely.
Yeah, Andrew, I also note that CCDC, some other competitions, I've found that the red team is there to crush you.
Yes.
And they take a little bit too much joy in that, and they sometimes get in the way of learning. And so our red team are all ex-competitors. They were you at some point in their careers. Therefore, they have a strict rule that everything that they break, you can fix.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, Andrew.
So at least we'll say from like the beginning of the morning, right? So most things will be just simple, and I'll be honest, this is a real secret I'm about to give out, right? Could just be turning a service off, right? So it's knowing what type of service actually is running. So if you look at Jake's background there, you see one for SSH login. Well, the service is SSH, right? You have to make sure that that service is actually running. It could be that simple. In order to figure something out like that out, right, you would say, hey, I know I have to run an SSH server. Let me go ask Google what type of service this is and how can I check the status of it, right? And the status will actually say your service is currently down and disabled. So just enable it, turn it back on. Sometimes it truly is that easy in the beginning of the day. As we move throughout the day, hopefully you take some backups of your configuration files. And again, I'm going to keep picking on SSH. If in the file, right, we might have keys located in the actual configuration file itself saying, hey, if a red team member wants to log in, look at this specific file and say, if it's here, just let them log in. So I would check your configuration files. Maybe the port got changed. Maybe it's no longer listening on 22, right? You learned that in your classes for sure. So if it's not listening on 22, you're definitely not going to score, right? And then configuration changes, that would be a little later on in the day, right? Towards the end of the day, again, you better make sure you have some backups because some files might get deleted as well. But it is fixable. Even if, I was going to say, this is another good part. Even if it's totally, scorched earth and we deleted it pretty well and you truly had no backups, you forgot to do it for whatever the reason, well, there are other ways around that. You can barter with the red team in various ways, right? That, again, another benefit of the CNY Hackathon. We do indeed like to watch people dance.
Well, they'll learn a little bit more of that about that on game day, or hopefully they won't.
Hopefully they won't. Yeah, your service is going to stay green the entire time. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, we'll take a few questions if you'd like. But the last thing I want to make sure I stress is that, as Andrew said, this is really an opportunity to learn from your colleagues, and it's not a good strategy to stay up all night drinking Mountain Dew, preparing. And we've had a number of students do that, and they arrive a little strung out and without proper nutrition, and they're not the best version of themselves. And so I would say prepare. But the night before the event, take it easy. You know, give yourself a down night where you really do show up on Saturday as a good version of yourself, asking good questions, helpful to your colleagues, soaking stuff up. You can't do that if you spend the whole if you don't have any sleep and if you are just running on caffeine. So I highly encourage you to take that advice, even though I know some of you won't.
Definitely.
There's always not.
Definitely follow that.
So do you have a few questions for us? We're happy to answer some questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So is this event like mostly like blue team, or will we be like switching from blue team?
You are the blue
red
team. Yeah, so it's mostly you're the blue team, but also running the show too. Jake, do you want to go into like kind of the role of the competitor in terms of blue-red, kind of just talking about how that goes?
Sure. We are unique in that you will have a black team member. The black team are the people that run the platform. And that is a unique feature of our event as well, is that you will have a black team member assigned to you. And they're not going to do things for you, but at the parts of the day where you're the most frustrated and you can't figure things out, they're just going to be a little bit of a lifeline for you. If you can't figure out, is this broken for real, or is it supposed to be broken, or am I looking at the altogether wrong thing? The black team will throw you a lifeline. You'll have a person that you can ask questions to here and there, and they're going to just gently nudge you in the right direction. So you're not going to be on your own, and that's the black team. The blue team has two roles. Number one, the infrastructure element, which is mostly what we've been talking about. So that scores in blue on the scoreboard that you see behind me. So most teams will have 2 or 3 people, sometimes more, that have taken some Linux classes, watched the tutorial videos, and have enough confidence that they're going to take the lead on infrastructure for their team in that day. Everybody else is going to do CTF. And our CTF is kind of aligned with our infrastructure. So if you figure out a few CTF things, a few CTF challenges, you might be surprised that that same chunk of knowledge might help out the infrastructure team. So there's a couple thousand points available in CTF, and most students will chip away at that. But some students will be doing infrastructure, and you'd be surprised. There are always some surprise challenges. Sometimes there's lock picking. Sometimes there's some kind of hardware hacking involved. You never know about that. And really, to be honest, if you're new to the event, you really can be helpful by monitoring the scoreboard and just having some situational awareness of, hey guys, we just lost FTP. There's really just being aware and being helpful to your team. A lot of new people just do that as they're trying to get acclimated. And so that's the role of the blue team. Go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say another one on that same note too is if you see one service go down often, such as FTP, such as SSH, they often will go down, right? And if one team member is constantly just turning them back on, and they're really good at turning it back on, well, I'd recommend asking them to sit with them, or just going over and just looking over their shoulder. Like, what are they doing that you need to know, right? Your team are your biggest resources at the end of the day.
Yeah, and good point, Andrew. And if that's a repetitive task, if you're just taking and turning back on after red team turns it off, that's something a new person can help with, while that person tries to figure out how they're getting in. Yeah, so that's a good blue team strategy as well. The red team, as I said, for the most part, they are there to mess with your systems. They have tons of fun with you in Discord. The whole event is Discord driven. It's a meme fest like you've never attended before. And you got to be wary. Andrew is one of the more helpful red team members. He will be going into your room to help you. Other red team members will be going into your room to see what passwords you have written on the whiteboard and see how they might further exploit you. So anyone with a red team badge, and on the red team will have a red team badge, and they're not going to pretend they're not red team. And you can practice whatever physical security you would like with your team.
Like I said, people pick me up all the time, but I still watch the Steelers stay down.
So black, red, and blue are really the three teams that are at our event.
Awesome. Any other questions about anything?
I just want to ask, like, how similar is it?
Speak over here.
It's kind of more.
No, speak towards here.
Oh, I just want to ask, like, how similar is it to the capture the flag we had?
Well, so there's an actual like infrastructure part and then the CTF part. So, Jake or Andrew, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so they are two separate, so that is kind of what we're just talking about. So the CTF could have anything from, like Jake was saying, it could have hardware hacking. It could have programming challenges. I saw one year, I haven't seen it back in a while, but there was one where you had to guess a number like 4 or 5 different times accurately in a row. And somebody actually sat there and brute forced it by just randomly picking numbers until they got it right to get the flag. You were supposed to just create like a basic Python script or whatever language of programming that you prefer and allow the program to force it for you because there are millions and millions of options. And I don't understand how the one guy actually brute forced it by himself. He had like pen and paper and there's like, it has to be this number, it has to be this number. I don't understand matrices. Apparently he did. Yeah. But yeah, so there is infrastructure. So that's when you're actually setting up SSH, your FTP, your DNS, right? You are acting as a mini company, if you would, and you want to make sure that your company stays online against the threats of the world, right? Just the threats of the world in this case just happen to be the red team. All the other challenges, the CTF, they can make a true make it or break it towards the end of the competitions as well. When you get an extra 300-400 points right at the very end. Some people wait. I don't always recommend waiting to the last minute because the CTF team is a little lenient on letting you get points at the last minute or so, but it's always easier to submit those ticket or the CTFs ahead of time if you're holding on to a couple. So, that's actually a very good one. Say you submit all your CTF, right, and you're number one on the leaderboard. The red team is not going to target you just because you're on the top of the leaderboard. That is actually a minor misconception a lot of people have. We only look at infrastructure score. We don't care about your overall score at all. We try to balance just infrastructure.
Yeah, I also know we have a category that's trivia. We have some fun stuff on the CTF board as well, and there are intentionally a number of challenges that are designed for students that are new to the competition to be able to contribute to the team through CTF, and we see that happen all the time.
We love Pac-Man.
Exactly, Pac-Man King. If you do Pac-Man King, it will give you, I won't want to say step-by-step instructions of how to solve some of the issues on our red team, but it might give you step-by-step instructions on how to kick out the red team. It was built with the competition in mind by James Rice.
Yeah, very helpful stuff. I remember going into that first time I was there, and I just thought this was great. Now I work with DNS every day, so can't forget routing all the time now. So
I will say, if you're very, very good at working with DNS, right, I would recommend that this goes back to the team aspect, right? So I assume you're returning person at least 1 or 2 times, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what I would challenge you instead would be, instead of being hands on keyboard against me, it would be to teach somebody else on your team how to do it, right?
Absolutely.
I know winning is the goal, but at the end of the day, it really is how much is everybody on your team going to learn.
And it's mostly about learning. That's how I definitely went my first time going to the hackathon. Didn't really do much on services because I had no idea what I was doing, to be completely honest. And a lot of people don't, and that's okay. And that's why you have peers and everyone that you're going to be working with to help you out with it. So
I challenge you to do back to somebody else's competition because my last two was completely hands off. I was merely just helping other people on my team.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I unfortunately won't be able to make it since CPTC is the same weekend, and we're gonna be going there. But we are still sending a team, so they're gonna have a great time. So,
Nice.
does anyone else have any other questions about anything? This is your chance to ask. All right. Well, I don't hear anything else from anyone, so thank you, Jake. Thank you, Andrew, for your time and taking time out of your Tuesday night to come speak to us, and we greatly appreciate it. And hopefully, some of these people will be able to meet you guys in person in November. So.
That sounds great. Everything is totally free, covered by sponsors, and registration will open this Friday. So if you can get everybody in. And the other thing, if you have courtesy for us, as we get closer to the event, after you've registered, if you decide you can't make it or any of your teammates can't make it, if you could just let us know, we really appreciate it. We make the teams about a week out, and we tweak them in the days before the event. We really like the teams to be level and fair and ready to go on Saturday morning. So if for any reason anyone registers and can't make it, please let us know.
Will do. Absolutely. We would expect that too, but with some competitions we've been dealing with have not gotten that courtesy, so most definitely will take care of that.
Well, thanks, and good luck to the CPTC team. I hope you have a really, really great time with that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your night. We greatly appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. So it's a great competition. This was the very first competition I ever went to, and it definitely was a really great start to a much bigger thing in this industry, because I went to this event wondering, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like that during that first competition there, all I did was touch the CTF because I had no idea what to do for the services. So
It's a great experience. I've been to this competition 3 times.
no, you haven't.
2 times. Listen, man, 2 times, but it's great. Like William said, everything that he said. I recommend everyone goes. It's great to get it in person, but also getting that. Oh crap, red team is bleeding.
And you get to have fun with them too.
Oh yeah.
If that happened during CCDC, that would not fly.
Oh yeah. I mean, it used to fly.
Who's speaking?
Oh yeah, I stopped eating anyway.
Ah, there he is.
It's Andrew.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Jake. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Was I never sharing screen?
Question? No, because you closed out a Zoom.
Oh, but I was sharing my entire screen, not just the Zoom.
Well, that's a big problem. Well, it's
Upset.
That is true. But yeah. Do you guys have booth? Yes. Can I help you?
What if we found a way to remove all persistence from?
All right.
Booth will not be
Okay.
going to CNY.
Yeah, and you didn't need to.
He was just spouting nonsense.
But do you guys not have any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you again for coming out, Andrew. Greatly appreciate that. I really enjoyed the personalized call with Jake. So that was really great.
This is the first time they have done it at every school. And they asked if anybody wanted to do it for Albany, and I was like, you know what? I got this.
Great, yeah. And
so
Nobody mentioned
the CNY. I recommend checking it out.
Yep, I saw a couple more people. We got the interest form going, so we got a couple more.
Linux link.
For
like
Linux defense. All right, you guys see that?
Maybe that'll be a workshop. Who knows?
Maybe Thomas and Anton will actually do a Linux workshop that involves.
Today?
Well, let's see.
Hey! Whoa, not ready yet. Everybody scanned it? All right. All right. Intro to thermonuclear aerodynamics, also known as nuclear propulsion. So, nuclear propulsion is the idea of using nuclear material for propulsion. It's hypothesized that radioactive material radio might be a suitable fuel for engines to propel cars, planes, and boats.
Okay, wait. So it turns out that Linux hardening is not actually rocket science. So we're gonna go to.
So also, aerodynamic heating, if we're going to use nuclear propulsion, we always got to know about aerodynamic heating. So aerodynamic heating is, the heating of a solid body produced by its high-speed passage through air.
I think you chose the wrong major.
Did I? I don't know. Thermonuclear physics is pretty cool. All right, enough of that. All right, intro to Linux hardening. Upcoming events. This Thursday we have our red team for enumeration and vulnerability scanning. CNY Hackathon is on November 11th. We have signups out already, so check club announcements. Also, GDDC is the week after CNY Hackathon, which is free for everybody, and it's in our own in-house competition. And sign up is available for that too in the club announcements. All right, what is Linux? Mr. Anton, would you like to?
Sure. Linux is an open source Unix system. Well, I don't know if many of you have encountered any Unix systems yet, but Linux is open source. It deals with a lot of times it's used in servers because it doesn't have. Excuse me.
Mr. Booth, please quiet down.
Okay. So Linux is an ideal choice for servers because it has low resource use and it's very well optimized and it's much cheaper typically to run. And it's naturally more secure than Windows for many reasons, but we'll get into it.
All right, before we continue, we're mainly just gonna be going over some Linux commands. It'll be helpful for learning about Linux security. So
we talked about hardening before. We covered it with Windows. So
if you wanna boot up a Linux VM, feel free to. You can follow along with the commands we go through. Operating system hardening. We went over this last week in Windows hardening. Yeah, minimal is the computer's exposure to current and future threats by fully configuring the operating system and removing unnecessary applications. Removing as many possible vulnerabilities from your system.
When we work with a compromised environment, it's complicated. We got to start somewhere. So we got to have an objective when we get into our system. So kind of talking about hardening is a good way to start talking about what we're going to do when we get in. So Linux server, we talked about this last time, what servers can do, but here's the list. Linux servers specifically are a good, strong foundation for complex enterprise level data centers and workload stuff. So when you're dealing with like a simulated enterprise environment, a lot of times you're gonna have to deal with Linux servers instead of Windows.
Most important thing is checking for updates. So if you want to check for updates, you could run a sudo apt update. This will check for any available patches on the system that is ready to be applied. And then to apply those updates, you do sudo apt upgrade. And then it'll apply those patches onto the system. If you want to do automatic updates, you do that. Those following commands, any of those, automatically update.
So making new users, this is going to be important for understanding Linux and stuff like that. You don't want to get comfortable with it. So we have it up here. In user, you're going to put the username that you want to add, and you can add it with different roles in the network. And if you type in a like a question mark after a command that you want to put in, it's going to give you the options that you can put in with that command. So you can start give it a user ID. You could put it in a group. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can change password. We have that up there. WD and the third one is that one just changes password for a different user instead of the user that you're currently on. And then we have checking user information. I use this one a lot at work actually, cat etc group and cat etc password. I like those. And then sudo cat is searching for something specific.
You're forgetting about etc shadow.
Oh, sorry. So I don't actually use shadow that much, but sudo cat shadow is
Shadow's pretty sensitive, if you ask me.
Maybe I gotta get on.
Hey Tom, why are you using pseudo cat? What are you?
Well, I don't know.
You have to use.
It's
You
easy
have to
in
use
Unix.
pseudo cat sensitive shadow.
No, just for ETC shadow. Yeah,
For the shadow, you have to use it.
shadow. But not when you're normally. Sorry, inside joke. So the other one was just to look at normal files. The other one was shadow to look at hidden files.
Though Shadow is a I forgot, but it holds very sensitive. Liam, help me out here. What does Shadow
It's
hold
your
again?
hash passwords.
There we go. Hash
Passwords.
password. It used to be an Etsy password, I think, right? But no,
It
never.
never was.
Never was.
Python slash ATC
Etsy password is just a hoax.
Also, if
I
you
learned about that in OpenSUSE class.
oh, no, but it's yeah, you don't want to have that information out there because if someone can view e slash ATC slash shadow, it's not gonna end well.
It's over if they get an Etsy Shadow. It's over.
It's
Might as well just
over.
hand in your laptop at that point.
Or hand it off to Andrew and the red team.
So escalating user roles, you got sudo user mod. So the I don't think the A is supposed to be in there actually. That's my bad. But the dash G, that's the extension for like I was talking about before, like making designating the group that's going to be in. Um, and so all those are just specifying which users and groups are going to be in, and then de-escalating user privileges. So that's if you set it up with read write and view access, but you want to change that. So then you can use basically there's something called a I don't actually know how to say it. It's a chmod,
chmod.
chmod. So like you can so basically like if you want certain privileges to be on a user, you can go into a chmod calculator and then type those in, get the ID that you need for that user so that it has the right privileges, and then user remove is pretty self-explanatory.
Mr. Booth.
When you were talking about how you didn't know if the A was supposed to be there, the reason you put it there is because if you don't, it only puts the user that you specify into the group that you specify and removes it from everything else.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I don't have to do that for my work, but
Sorry, Anton.
Solaris is a little
Average Solaris user. All right, so processes. This is obviously a huge part of CNY and other competitions. So checking your processes, you can use PS, but that doesn't really show much. Uh, better way, PS Aux shows a lot more. All the current processes that are running. If you want to kill a process by its PID, you can use sudo kill -9 and its PID, or you could just kill it by the name of the process. Yes, Mister.
Just wanted to kind of also mention about users. Make sure you check on which users have what permissions. A lot of them will have a lot of competitions that I've been to, and at CNY especially, they'll have like users like definitely not red team
Or like, wow.
yeah, or like Bob, and Bob will have root access. And
Oh no, man. Bob's a pretty friendly guy, if you ask me.
we got into that in the last round.
yeah, so just remember always to check users. It's like the one thing that every competition I think starts off with.
It's a
Like,
choke point for a lot of
exactly. Because sometimes they'll make it default user, but instead of it being capital letter D in the lowercase, and you're like, oh, it's probably just a regular user.
Who needs an access control list?
Exactly.
Who needs one?
Just remember to check users.
All right, checking logs. When you can check your off log, enter that command. It's a built-in log that shows activity on the Linux system. Might be important for the user to know. You never know. Might help you out with red team. Fail to ban log. This is something you could download. We'll go into that a little bit later. It show if you own that, it shows content within the fail to ban log file. Might be important. It's not a default Linux log file. Services continued. You could also do service status all. Interacting with services. So when red team, as said earlier by Andrew, when they towards the beginning of the competition of CNY, they'll probably just stop your services. So if you want to restart your services, sudo systemctl start and then the service name. That'll restart your service instantly. Bam, boom, easy done.
Chances are you're not gonna remember that. You can Google it very easily.
If you this is like the most simple command. If you can't remember it, you will be getting 15 spankings on the butt.
What?
Commit it to memory. That's it. It's just a service start and stop. That's all you need to know. Make sure you have sudo in front, because sometimes it won't work with
Don't
their
listen to me.
systems.
Just get good. So.
Just get good. It's not that
And also,
hard.
if you don't know something, just the biggest thing that I've kind of seen is just Google it. Honestly, it's the easiest thing to do. I mean,
Some people don't actually think that.
yeah, and because we get some people like we were in one competition, someone like said, "How do I do this?" And I'm like, just Google. Google is man's best friend.
Nah, Google is not man's best friend. Google is free. Google is free. Google's free. Services continued. Few SSH config file. Uh, let me read this. I don't even know what Booth was trying to say with this. Booth, can you elaborate on this?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Where's that?
Elaborate on
Oh
what
yeah,
you're saying.
so like the SSHD config file is kind of the configuration file for SSH. So you can like, if you really wanted to, change some stuff in there and maybe pay attention to see if there's anything else changed in there. For example, if the port is not by default 22 and like you look in there and it's like, oh, next to port it says like 717. That might be funny.
I don't think that's how ports work.
717. I can't keep it together today. Definitely want to keep. Yes, Mr. Kramer.
What's the difference between a failed to ban log and just a normal Linux log?
I'm staring at you, Booth.
Question yourself later.
I'm staring at you, Booth. I don't know.
One's more specific, and then one is.
We'll get to that later, Mr. Kramer. Wait a few slides. Definitely keep a good backup of this file. I hope you do.
All configurations. Whether it's FTP, SSH, DNS, back them all up, guys.
Yeah, definitely don't put it in a folder that says backups, by the way.
Definitely back it up with our stuff in it still. Don't delete our stuff and then back it up. It's not nice.
All right, your SSH key pair. You can generate a key pair using this command. Make sure you put it in a SSH file, a nice secure file. Name it properly. Don't lose sight of it. Don't let anybody get into it. Basically acts as a extra password when SSHing. On Windows, it's on that. On Linux, a lot of words there, but you guys can read, I hope, right? Here's your fail to ban, Mr. Kramer. Do that to install it. You're not even having you don't even have a Linux VM up. What are you doing? It protects against brute force and dictionary attacks. First thing you want to do is make a copy of both fail to ban config and jail config. Enter that little commands. There you go. Bam. If you enter the jail local file you just made, there are 4 main settings there, a little bit of a must change, but you don't really have to. And all the IP addresses of your devices so that you don't run into any problems if you accidentally misinput your password too many times. So adjust the max retries, the ban time, the find time. Max retries is obviously the number of retries you have, so I think it's in the name for itself. Hey, stop yapping over there in that corner. more services. UFW is like this built-in firewall for Linux. It's not like your third-party pfSense we went over. If you do that, it installs it. May take a little bit. It activates firewall, deactivate firewall, do all that. Flush all the rules from the firewall, restart it, and then do all that. Disable it or show status of your firewall. Accept traffic from a certain port. You can specify TCP or UDP. Reminder: block the destination port, not the source port. Obviously, come on, guys. Um, adding slash TCP or slash GDP after the port number you specify allows traffic to and from a specific address anywhere. Basic firewall knowledge here. Deny all traffic. So I think UFW. Oh, actually no, I don't think so. I don't think UFW follows order of precedence. So it does. So your first, it will not go through your rules and list. It'll just go through all of them at once. I think.
I don't know. I never use UFO.
Yeah, I'm not a UFW user, so I can't really. I'm not sure. I don't use this. RK Hunter, uh, doing that installs it. It checks for rootkits on your Linux box. I don't know if CNY does rootkits. Probably not.
I don't think you're gonna get an answer for that.
Maybe they do. That cough was a bit. uh,
They're in-house built, so I don't think Andrew's gonna pick them up.
RK Hunter, it's gonna be useless at CNY, but
Worth a shot.
worth a shot.
Worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Well, I guess that's it for today. Any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions? It was a bit
Yeah.
quick.
Everybody was definitely hands-on learning all that, right?
Well, that's their choice.
What adjustments did you have?
Oh, we have about I think one or two people doing hands-on. You know,
Okay.
I offered, you know, if you have a Linux machine already built, because we built some Linux machines, so
Should there be an entire virtual environment?
yeah, they should have their own VMs.
We went over virtualization.
We went over virtualization already. You know, it's uh, oh, you're gonna have to talk to Mike about that issue. It's a bit still in progress, you know.
We're working on it. No, it's actually almost done.
Yeah.
Supposedly, hopefully, it gets done by the time.
Allegedly, it's still done. It's almost done.
No, GDDC's making good progress.
Okay. Yeah. GDDC, I believe the stacks and stuff.
The stack.
I would love to make a deck for the GDDC too. I would love to.
If you want to help us,
One of these competitions,
I will. I promise, guys.
if you want to help us remotely run team, please feel free.
it's not as much fun.
Questions, concerns, comments. Yes. Yeah. There we go. Anybody else?
How would you follow along with it?
Yeah, he is.
Huh?
How would you follow along? You were saying like you could follow along with it.
The commands you can enter in the terminal is right in parentheses.
And then what do the commands do?
Enter and find out. It's
We'll post those slides.
In every Linux machine.
this industry is a testing experience.
Oh yeah.
You can just put in those commands. And they do it.
Obviously, VMs are there for them to break.
If you want to study on your own, you can look up like like a Linux.
Alright, so back to aerodynamic heating.
Look up like a Linux like user administration type thing, like any basic Linux.
So if you look to the bottom right of the screen, that is an F-16 aircraft. Obviously, it's obviously shows the aerodynamic heating
Yes.
within it.
Question. So, what would you say is the best kind of propulsion engine for a rocket?
You know, I
Mid-size
think
rocket.
we should move into nuclear propulsion for our fighter jets. You know, in the times of wartime, I hope you guys are investing in wartime companies right now. You know, it's a great time to invest.
Question. Can we use Kali Linux for wartime?
You know, I think Kali Linux and nuclear propulsion will go hand in hand well. So aerodynamic heating, you know, ensures spacecraft safely survive atmospheric re-entry and for the design of high-speed aircraft and missiles. You know, like the F-16 is obviously supersonic. Come on, guys.
All right. Is anyone going?
Question.
How does the full the condensation effect? You know, when the aircraft turns.
You know, I'm not too knowledgeable on that part of fuel physics, but you know, nuclear propulsion is a great way to advance out into the solar system.
Sorry, but this is the most out of pocket presentation.
Here at CDL, we're trying to get interplanetary. Okay.
Of course. Is anyone going to UB this weekend?
I gotta follow up on the one guy, but that's pretty much it. Maybe I should have done thermonuclear physics for my major instead.
I better not see this ever again.